Good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday, April 28th, and we are starting a new unit for grammar, like always. We are starting adverbs this week, and a lot of students really like adverbs. They're a lot of fun. And this is our last week where we're gonna have 5 days of instruction. So starting after this week, Mondays are now going to be like a flex day, meaning a day for you to finish up homework. So we're going to talk a little bit about how that's going to change our 5-day rotation, because that's going to kind of have to smush some things together. So we will talk about that next week. So this next week, our adverbs week, which is this packet that you received, is going to be still a 5-day week. So you're going to do the normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day rotation. Okay. So that I don't waste any more time, I'm going to go straight to the notes. If you don't have your grammar notebook out right now, pause the video and get it. If you don't have this out next to you, pause the video and get it. Get a writing implement, meaning a pen or a pencil, because remember you can take notes and whatever you'd like. You also can take out your red workbook, because there are things in the red workbook that might be helpful to you too. So have your materials out. Pause the video if you don't have them. And then when you have them, we'll start the notes. All right, time to share my screen and we will get started. All right, adverbs are a lot of fun. Now, remember this slideshow has days 1 and day 2 included. So today we're gonna do day 1, and then tomorrow for day 2, you're just gonna open the same PowerPoint and just start at day 2, okay? All right, let's go. So day 1 note, parsing and jobs. As always, we do labeling and parsing on day 1, and then I'll teach you how to diagram tomorrow, okay? So you don't need to diagram any adverbs tonight. You can try if you want, but you don't have to. You do still have to do baseline diagrams for every single sentence, so you still need to do a subject and a verb, but you don't need to do the adverbs unless you want it. But they're baselines, so you wouldn't have modifiers. We'll get into that. All right, slide 1, adverbs. So adverbs are a word that modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Now we already have something that is a modifier. We actually have a couple of things. We have adjectives, technically articles, but we don't really think of them as that very often, and then prepositional phrases, that group of words inside the parentheses, that whole thing acts as a modifier. This is our last modifier, and it's called an adverb. And we label it with an ADV. I know there's a lot of labels that start with A, and there's one that even starts AD, adjective, adverb. That can kind of help you to know that those are similar. This one is a big deal. They often end in LY, but not always. And what I say every year is that my name, Molly, M-O-L-L-Y, it ends in an LY, but I'm not an adverb, I'm a proper noun. So just because a word ends in an LY doesn't automatically mean it's an adverb, but it's a good hint and it's a good thing to check. You're like, oh, LY verb, that might be an adverb, but make sure you're also, using your noggin and you're not just automatically thinking it's one. Because if you call me an adverb, I might get upset. I'm a proper noun. They always do the job of modifier, and we actually call them the all-purpose modifier, because adjectives can only modify nouns. That's all they can do. I mean, they can nouns and pronouns, but that's all they can modify. But adverbs can modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. And this might be confusing now, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I totally know what an adverb is. I use them all the time. And an important thing to know is that there are two types of adverbs, okay? Remember, pause me at any point in time if you need to. So the first kind of adverb are adverbs that are modifying verbs. And this is actually what their primary focus is, I think, when you think about, if you look at the word adverb, add and verb, this Latin prefix AD means to. So an adverb literally means to the verb, okay? So it's something that's modifying, it's going to the verb. They also can do other stuff, but that's its primary function. It tells you in one word, and this is like your prepositional phrase memory sentence, the mouse goes blank, the box or boxes. This is something you need to write down, and these are the adverb questions. Adjectives answer which questions. Adverbs answer how, when, where, or why. And so if it's telling you how you did something, when you did something, where you did something, or why you did something. And put a huge box around this, write it in massive, massive letters, because every year I get kids asking me, what is always? Always is always an adverb. What is not? Not is always an adverb. Please, always an adverb. And never are always adverbs. So some of you smart cookies might notice that there's a time when please might not be an adverb, it might be a verb, like, ooh, this pleases me. That is when it's acting as a verb, but every way you're gonna see it in your book this year, it's an adverb, okay? And adverbs that modify verbs are movable. And this is actually kind of fun. Like if we were in class together, we would actually be taking these slips of paper and we'd be moving them around and realizing, oh my goodness, I can move this word around. Let's look at our example. The students arrived promptly today. What are the adverbs in this sentence? And you can think back to those hints, like it's an ly word, maybe, or it answers a question in one word, how, when, where, or why. So let's see, the students arrived promptly today. Promptly and today are both adverbs. Now listen to this. Today, the students arrived promptly. The students arrived today promptly. The students promptly arrived today. Today, the students promptly arrived. You can move those adverbs around because they are both modifying how the students arrived and when the students arrived. Promptly is answering how they arrived. They arrived promptly. They could have arrived lazily. They could have arrived happily. They could have arrived angrily. And today is telling you when. So adverbs that are modifying our verbs that are answering these questions, we can move around in the sentence and they still mean the same thing. Now, sometimes there are places that you'll be like, well, can I move it here? And I guess you could, but it'll sound weird. Like the today students arrived promptly. That doesn't really make sense because you can't separate this article and its noun. But in general, you can move adverbs around in the sentence and they still do their job. That's what we kind of call them the all-purpose modifier. They have more flexibility. If anybody plays chess, they are like a queen. They've got a lot of movement, a lot more moves than other words or parts of speech do. Okay? Remember, pause if I'm going too fast. Rewind if you missed something. The things that this page is extremely important for your notes. They tell you in one word, how, when, where, or why. And they are movable if they're modifying the verb. If they're modifying this action verb, they're movable, okay? The other kind of adverb is those that are modifying adjectives or adverbs. You might be like, I don't know what that means, Ms. Doyle. They tell you in one word how or to what extent. So when you maybe are thinking about a sunset and you say the sunset's really pretty, pretty is an adjective. Is it not, is it pretty or is it really pretty? Really is describing to what extent is that sunset pretty. It's really pretty. Or, Miss Doyle, you're not just annoying, you're really annoying, or very annoying, or extremely annoying. Or, Miss Doyle, I don't just miss you. I definitely miss you. I obviously miss you. Those are all saying to what extent you are doing something. And these can't be moved because they modify the word that's right next to them, okay? So you would, like when you say somebody is really pretty, you wouldn't say, it has to go with that word because that's what it's modifying. Just like the word red has to go with the word truck when we're talking about which truck, the red truck. How pretty? Really pretty. They have to go next to each other because adverbs modifying adjectives or adverbs, they're just not movable. That's just a rule. You can't move them. It doesn't make sense anymore. Let's look at this example. The extremely nervous patient sat in the dentist's chair. What is the adverb in this sentence? There's only one. And if you pay attention, it's going to be answering a how or to what extent question. And again, that ly thing can be a good hint. Nervous, or sorry, extremely. And extremely is describing nervous. Nervous is an adjective describing the patient. So patient is a noun. Nervous is an adjective describing patient. Which patient? The nervous one. And then how nervous were they? Or to what extent were they nervous? Extremely. Okay, so this adverb can't move around. You can't say the nervous patient extremely sat in the dentist chair. Well, that's describing something different. That's saying how they sat. They're I don't know how to sit extremely. You couldn't say the nervous patient sat in the dentist chair extremely. Again, that's changing the meaning because this word is tied to nervous. That's what it means. It's describing how nervous they are. Okay? This process we're going to continue to use, okay? And if you notice, it's going to start having more and more words on it. That's okay because we're just going to keep adding things to our list, but by hopefully 1, 2, 3, and 4, maybe even 5 are kind of like a habit now, which is you start with all the nouns and pronouns. Then you go through and ask which, and that's when you find your articles and your adjectives. Then you look for your pronouns. Then you do your prepositions and put parentheses. And then you look for that word that's a verb. And then you ask who or what the verb, does it have a subject? If it does, action verb. If it doesn't, it's a verbal. And this week, we're also gonna have another video about verbals. And then now it's your time to, after you've done all of that, you are then gonna go look back and see, are there any adverbs modifying the verb? Are there any adverbs modifying any adjectives? Or are there adverbs modifying other adverbs? And that would be like the really, really smart kid. Really is modifying really, which is modifying smart, which is modifying kid. Okay? My other big hint for adverbs, before we get into these sentence examples, is whenever you come across a word that you don't know, the first check is always, does it fit into my memory sentence for prepositional phrases? The mouse goes blank the box. If it doesn't fit in that, and it's not a but Al does, it's probably an adverb, like 95% of the time. If you come across a word that you're like, I have no idea what that is, Mr. Well, it's not a noun, I don't know. If you check your prepositional phrases, and if it's not a preposition, it's probably an adverb. This is like a no-fail way to look at it, okay? Because that's the adverbs are the ones that are like those unique or special words that we just don't see very often or we just don't recognize much, okay? Let's go number 1. I check my personal email account almost hourly. Let's go through and label our nouns. Account. Oh, we did pronouns. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Pronoun, I. I is always a pronoun. And account. Then we say which I, no modifier. Which account? My personal and email are all describing which account. Yep, and email, it's got a hyphen, which means it already has a wing, so you do not include wings, it's one word. And then you find your action verb. What do? I check. And then, do we have any words that are answering a how, when, where, why, or to what extent question? We do. When do you check it? Hourly. And then do you have an adverb modifying that adverb? Almost hourly. You don't actually check it hourly, you check it almost hourly. Okay, does that make sense? I really hope. Adverbs are the fun ones, and usually students, as soon as you kind of see some examples, you realize, oh, okay, yeah, I know those. Let's look at number 2. Start with our nouns. Coworker, office, stapler, morning. Yes. Which coworker? My coworker. Which office? The and next door. Yep, and next door is hyphenated, again, one word. Which stapler? My favorite. Which morning? The morning. Sweet. Now we do prepositions. From is a preposition. The mouse goes from the box. Parentheses, please. Remember, you start at your preposition, end at your noun. And then in, always a preposition. Parentheses, please. Now we need to find our action verb. What is being done in this sentence? Things are being borrowed. Who or what borrows? The coworker. So it's got a subject, a verb. And then, do we have anything answering how, when, where, why, or to what extent? Anything modifying the verb? We do. They don't just borrow their favorite stapler, they always borrow their favorite stapler. Now, you don't even have to do that check because always is what? always an adverb. Last one. The United States Constitution always guarantees universal rights to all United States citizens. Let's do our nouns. United States Constitution, one proper noun with wings. Rights, citizens. All right, which United States Constitution? Nothing in front of it. Which rights? Universal. Which citizens? All and United States. United States here is not talking about the country, it's describing which citizens. So it's a proper adjective with wings. Now, what does the United States Constitution do? Oh, it guarantees. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, sorry. I pressed the back button on accident. What does it do? It guarantees. And again, you can ask those adverb questions, or you can know that always is always an adverb. Okay? Your homework tonight is going to your packet. Adverbs exercise 1. Now, adverbs exercise 1, again, I'm giving you the answer keys, not so that you cheat. I'm giving the answer keys so that after you complete your work, you can go back and check it, okay? You can correct it tomorrow, or once you finish your homework today, you can correct it tonight. But the number one mistake you will make is relying on this to complete your homework. Please don't do that. That's just not even worth your time, okay? You don't have to do any full diagrams tonight. You only need to do baselines, which means I just need a baseline diagram with a subject and a verb for every sentence. This is all you need to do. That. A subject and a verb for numbers 1 through 10. Now, if you are feeling ambitious, that's the crown from Julius Caesar. If you're feeling ambitious and you think you found an adverb modifying your verb, you can practice. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. If you don't want to practice and you only want to do baselines, only do baselines. You're good to go. But that was just my little quick hint for those of you who are being ambitious. Your homework tonight, exercise 1, whole thing front and back, including jobs. Baseline diagrams, numbers 1 through 10. Also, for the jobs, adverbs are always modifiers, just like adjectives are always modifiers. So we didn't actually get a new job today, if you noticed. All right? All right, that's all I got for you today. Email me with questions, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. This is where we will start tomorrow. Bye-bye. Stop share. Oh, this takes forever.